Hello, Professor Andy, and all my dear classmates. We Group 6 are here to present our final presentation on sentiment analysis upon express entry in Canada pre and post COVID. We have chosen this topic because Canadian immigration is one of the most sought after immigrations in the entire world, and it also contributes heavily to the economy of Canada. So for that purpose, Canada has introduced multiple streams through which immigration can apply for permanent residencies, of which one of the topic is express entry. We all know that after the COVID-19 pandemic, there have been many changes in the world. Same is the case with the express entry in Canada. We as a group are going to review those. Our group includes myself, that is Rahul, Dhananjay, Ghazala, Janet, Nishal, and Tanvi. We have tried to perform an analysis on this particular stream of the Canadian immigration and also review public sentiment on this particular topic.
Hi, my name is Ghazala and I'll be presenting the project's table of contents and further include a project introduction that includes the project's goals and objectives. The project's components comprise an introduction, its goal and objectives, a roadmap outlining the project stages, a deck report with the project's analysis, findings, and recommendations. Lastly, a future research component. The IRCC offers services to help newcomers integrate and protects refugees while also assisting immigrants in establishing in Canada. New regulations put in place as a result of the COVID-19 virus, which drastically slowed down and changed the immigration procedures, have had an influence on Canada's rapid entry system. In order to ascertain and assess people's attitude, our research is based on results regarding how the IRCC's express entry systems has been impacted both pre and post COVID. Our goals include to take into consideration backlogs and compare the IRCC processing times for immigrations, petitions before and after COVID. Additionally, to evaluate the efficiency of digitizing apps versus earlier paper-based applications. Furthermore, to understand how IRCC regular updates on applications can alter people's perceptions about immigration to Canada as a whole. Lastly, to investigate the effect of immigration on the Canadian economy.
Hello Professor, I am Nishil and I'm gonna cover roadmap to our research methodology. So why we choose this topic? Our topic is upon Express Entry Canada pre and post COVID. The reason why we chose this topic is Canada is the world's most desirable country to live in. Hence, the number of applications for settling down is increasing day by day. Before COVID, it was simple to get settled down in Canada if you have required background and eligibility. However, after COVID, the criteria has changed and the backlogs are increased. So this is the major concern for people nowadays. So we decided this topic to find out the public sentiment on this and how it affects the society. So we use Twitter and YouTube for scrap the data using Python library that perform extraction of data. If I talk about YouTube, it is most used social media platform with high volumes of data which help us to get the best result. While Twitter is also social engagement site that used for creating threads and minting out opinions about one's views, preferred for data analysis. So as a result, we can get lots of data to work upon. To analyze the topic, we consider several factors that helped us to analyze the problem. So first of all, we analyzed the time factor and found how fast was the processing time before COVID for applications. Secondly, we consider the digitalization system. We can call it artificial intelligence. We found during COVID that authority introduced a software that was capable of reducing timeline and it can work accordingly. Moreover, we studied upon the communication gap that happened due to heavy backlogs. It was major concern for applicants. Lastly, we tried to find the problem based on travel restrictions that had biggest impact on tourism industries as well as international immigrants.
So now we are going to talk about the analysis that we have done as a group. We considered few YouTube videos, few accounts, and also tweets from multiple accounts. So when we ran the word cloud code for the YouTube videos and the tweets, the most used words were Canada, immigration, visa, IRCC, backlog, apply, time, COVID, as you can see in the word cloud. This particular word cloud gives us an idea of how the situation regarding the immigration is in the country. So next up is topic labeling. It is a topic in which tags or groups are assigned to a particular data to deal with the large amounts of data that we get through raw means. So in this case, as we are dealing with the Canadian immigration data, we have assigned tags like immigration, visa, processing, COVID, etc. to better understand the sentiment. And as we can see from the graphs, we have divided the sentiments in three colors, light blue being the positive, dark blue being the neutral, and the navy blue being the negative sentiments. And from the graph, we can conclude that many of the users have been on the neutral or the positive side. Very less number of users have expressed their negative sentiments. So next up is subjectivity sentiment analysis. This graph is actually very easy to understand. So in this graph, what we do is we compare the data on two terms, that is whether the data is opinionated or whether it is a fact. So as you can see from the graph, the number of opinion is much higher than the number of fact. So we can imply that all the available data we have is not factual and it is the personal opinion of the person who has commented. Next up, Dhananjay will be taking over. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your analysis, Rahul. Hello, Professor. My name is Dhananjay, and I'll be sharing my analysis on next couple of slides. Here we can see the subjectivity analysis in which the green dots are the positive tweets and comments, and the red dots are negative tweets and comments. And here we can see that there are more positive tweets and comments rather than negative. Even at the most extreme, there are more positive tweets and comment, which implies that most of the process regarding Canadian immigration have fared well in terms of public review. And also most of the tweets and comments are more than zero point 0.4 subjectivity, which implies that most of the tweets are opinion based rather than facts. Here we can see the polarity sentiment analysis, which shows the count of tweets which are positive, neutral, or negative. As we can see, the highest number of tweets are positive, which is followed by the neutral comments, which is little less than the positive comments. The lowest number of tweets and comments are negative, which is close to 1000, which implies that the overall sentiment of people is positive and people are receiving the express entry very well. Here is some of the interesting findings that we found with our analysis. Our analysis reveals that the processing of Express Entry application has seen very minor changes. Both before and after COVID, the processing was constantly slow. The backlog has grown significantly since COVID, and both the public and the Canadian government appears to be extremely concerned about this. In addition to quicker application processing, individuals demand additional fast-track programs targeted specifically at international students and work permit holders. People are also concerned about inflation, jobs, and rising housing prices. All those considering moving here are worried since it is gradually rising. Now I'm passing the floor to Tanvi.
So moving on with the recommendations, I am Tanvi and I'll be talking about how the IRCC can take some measures to combat the overwhelming numbers of backlogs. Starting with going digital. Earlier, IRCC had processed its application manually, wherein the applicants would drop their documents in person at the IRCC headquarters. But now, in order to speed up the process, IRCC has already begun the transformation phase, wherein they assess the applications online. Next would be investing into tools that are efficient. In order to process so many applications, they need a durable and updated technology that can speed up the process and have a high storage capacity. Such tools often require big investments. Practicing transparency. When COVID hit initially, the IRCC had kept the applicants in dark instead of being upfront about the status of their processing and functioning. Therefore, it is important to be transparent with the applicants in order to build trust and sustain their faith in the system. They can also establish a national advisory council by working closely with the local immigration specialists to make the best immigration judgments. Lastly, it is important to perform independent study. This will help them in constantly keeping a tab on what they did wrong, what they should be doing in order to correct it, what decisions have had a positive or negative impacts upon their performance and the applicants' lives.
Hi everybody, I'm Janet Mejia and I'm going to talk about future research and conclusion. Here are some recommendations that this study got. First of all, data source that sometimes did not allow waiting data because require a request to evaluate if it proceeds or not. Then, data collection was interrupted because of server delays of the data source. The code sometimes interpreted sarcastic comment as positive when it's not necessary. That Turing increased the number of positive comments. Therefore, a script updated could help to show the real sentiment of the public so that get accuracy on the results. Continuing, the data collection has been in real time, some changes in data source appear which trigger analysis delays. Next, collecting data that has 4,000 and 5,000 isn't enough. To get better results regarding picking up the people outlook, it's crucial to collect a high volume of data. Finally, defining the period of time to collect data is the key. We mean that, for example, choosing just 2 weeks instead of 6 months might not give the results expected. Thus, it's possible that we need to use algorithms to define the period of time in order to get more accuracy. Final point is conclusion. First, IRCC has experimented with an overwhelming increased number of pending applications. So, this analysis shows that its process should be improved. Next, in the scraping of data from YouTube and Twitter, we discovered that many individuals have negative emotions toward the IRCC process. Finally, after the recovery phase that we are, it was discovered that some parts of the IRCC process have undergone changes such as digitalization. Well, that is all from our side. Thank you for your attention.